What is the latest regarding solar energy in Arizona, and where is this particular renewable energy heading? To get some answers, we welcome Joy Seitz, President and CEO of American Solar and Roofing. Welcome. Good to see you. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you.
So what is the state of solar energy in Arizona right now?
The state of solar at this point, we have about 10% of our energy that we're receiving from the grid comes from solar energy. So that's a diversification of small, residential homes that have solar on them to commercial. Macy's, for example, was one of the first commercial buildings to ever put solar on it, all the way to the utility scale that you see in the desert. So all of those combine, about 10% of energy comes from solar.
Is it growing as fast as people had thought? Is it growing faster? Not fast enough? What are you seeing out there?
Great. We are seeing not fast enough based upon some of the climate objectives that whether we have locally or utilities have and or even nationally we have. So if it depends upon who you ask, right? So if you have climate objectives, then we're not growing fast enough and we really need to be pushing better policy to move it. If you still have a climate naysayer or somebody who does not believe in energy, it's probably going just fine.
Yeah. The cost of solar, where does it stand now in comparison to other forms of energy and in comparison to what solar cost just a few years ago? Where's that heading?
Yes, it is. All studies and all data of now coming out of different states, even our own, shows that solar is declining in costs. So when you look at it comparably to other traditional forms of energy, it is declining in costs, and it continues to do that as we continue to grow the industry.
As far as these PACE programs, first of all, what is PACE, this Property Assessed Clean Energy Pro? What is that?
Yes, it is a form of financing solar. So we really need to be focusing on homeowners to invest in solar. PACE allows you to buy or use a loan from the city or the state to be able to get less expensive capital to invest in solar energy. Right now you have financing and loans that have extremely high financing costs. And when we look at solar deployment and wanting to do more solar, those soft costs like financing costs really impact us. So we really need to lower that.
I was going to ask about soft costs in a second, but as far as PACE is concerned, is that a program? I know it's in California all over the place. Is it in Arizona?
It is not in Arizona. There's other states that have done it, and I've really been, dropping these conversations for the last decade, really pushing for that because it will stimulate and it does make it less expensive for the homeowners. And as we all know right now, everything's more expensive, including lending. So it is an opportunity right now for the state to use the surplus budget we have to really start investing in renewable energy.
And those soft costs, again, I think you just said it, yeah. They are increasing, aren't they?
Yeah, soft costs can increase just based upon the cost of labor, the cost of fuel, the cost of permitting. Even some cities have higher permitting fees. Other cities have lower permitting fees. So really encouraging municipalities, counties to start lowering those costs. But again, when you start looking at those financing costs, those are pretty large.
How do you get lawmakers and utilities and solar companies and all the stakeholders here? How do you get them on the same page?
I believe we get them all on the same page because we've been doing this for 20 years. So we were the first to grid tie into the city of Phoenix, into the city of Scottsdale. So our company has been around long enough to say, hey, look, if you were concerned about it, solar energy 20 years ago, we now have a lot more data to show that more stakeholders should be coming to the table. There's new technology that is coming to the grid. There are lessons that the utilities can teach new technology, but there's also new technology that can, teach an established utility.
I think anyone who's shopped...
Bringing everybody.
Yeah. I think I didn't mean to interrupt there, but I think anyone who's shopped for a car in the last year or so has noticed a lot of electric vehicles out there. There's a big, mostly in California, but we got Lucid Motors here.
Yes.
A lot of push for electric vehicles. It almost seems like overnight electric vehicles have become the thing. Well, it's been a long overnight for solar. When is this going to happen?
Thanks for pointing that out. I would agree with that. I think when the state and everybody, leadership within the state come together and decide that they really want to focus on that, as an Arizona native, that's what I love about Arizona, is if you're going to thrive in Arizona, it's because everybody comes together and supports it. So whether that be, as you pointed out, the electric vehicles, or even even semiconductors, right? Like we had an intentional focus on bringing those sectors to Arizona, and it's now proving out that if you focus on it and you invest in it, it will thrive.
Last question, probably a dumb question because I know how you're going to answer this, but are you optimistic?
Of course, yeah. Doing this for 13 years now, I am more optimistic than I have been.
All right, Joy Seitz, American Solar and Roofing. Good conversation. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you so much.